Hi again. Welcome to our fourth chapter, the second part. We were talking about the audio mediums that started with radio, and radio capitalized on transmitting music to the audiences. And we should say, we mentioned in one of our conversations that the transmission of opera, classical music, and symphony music to the broad masses brought up a lot of concerns among elitist trendsetters about the truthful sound of music transmitted via radio. But with technology, that sound became cleaner and cleaner, and eventually humanity accepted the value of bringing those cultural forms to the masses, so that millions of people can listen to a symphony rather than just a handful who can afford the tickets and afford being in that place at that time to hear the performance live. So we said that audio broadcasting is the second most popular form of mass media after print and the second most used form of mass media today after television. It is culturally important because it provides news commentary, music entertainment, and in general transmits cultural values and belief. Just like print, audio industries are changing nowadays with digital technology. We also said the recording industry is acting as a gatekeeper because the bands and artists that bring them money, the recording companies, are profiting from them. They hold all the technology for recorded music, and therefore they control the network of distribution as well of the product that they create. Therefore, they became the single gatekeeper who also holds the brand for, let's say, Sony Industries, right? When you see Sony, you know that it's a brand name. They advertise, they pay for promotion, and they reach out to a large number of fans with their own money, spending their money where it's necessary, scheduling live concerts and tours. It all costs money. So being a sole gatekeeper allows those companies to also make the sole profit. Therefore, you hear the same songs over and over, we said last time, because whatever makes money for the company, that ends up being played on the radio. Now, digital technology are breaking the gatekeeper's stranglehold over musicians. Why is that happening? How is digital technology changing the game? Well, first it was Napster. You can remember that Napster was a file sharing protocol that allowed people to swap music. But nowadays, it's not just that. It's not the illegal activity. Napster, as you know, it was defeated in court and it closed down. It disappeared. But instead of Napster, now we have a million other ways of either sharing music. YouTube, for example, is one place. Unlicensed musicians who have not received formal training or have received formal training, but they don't receive any payment for this activity. They can record their music and share free on YouTube. So people can afford their own studio equipment because it's becoming more and more portable and cheaper and affordable. And people can have access to those resources because they, some of them make money. And people have access to social media platforms to distribute their music. Instead of putting their music on CDs or playing at concerts, they just share it on YouTube. Fans engage with favorite artists on social media. They create audiences that convert into paying customers. So once you get used to listening to an artist, then one day you will decide to pay money, and especially with the notion that you're supporting that artist. It becomes even more conscientious and meaningful. So there are different ways to show support for your artist: streaming, Bandcamp, Patreon, plus traditional album sales and concerts, etc. You can choose a different form. For example, here's a monthly live jam and ukulele tutorial that you can start with $1 per month, $3 per month, $5 per month, or some other ways of Patreon music, fee-based services that you can subscribe to. So digital technologies change the game because musicians now are independent. They own something like a small studio. They can make and distribute their own music to a fan base that they cultivate on their own. And here is when we remember that content creators, audiences who become content creators and content users, they are the best kind of audience, and that's the environment where self-made artists can emerge and blossom. And we all know that YouTube has celebrities, has artists that emerged just on YouTube and remained as YouTubers. So Bandcamp is another format. You can pay artists through Bandcamp. The internet provides a lot of other distribution modes that often return radio back to its roots as a mass medium. But when you're really working on the internet, you want to narrow it down by either region or genre. So the internet content, the content on the internet will be more stratified. For example, if I used to live in Iowa and moved to New York, but I remember that in Iowa there was a great jazz music station, I might want to continue listening to that music on the internet. And so now your stratification of both audiences and content is happening by choice, not by geography, or you're not born into this area and you have to listen to this radio signal. But you can choose freely to a station from Brooklyn, to a station from Iowa. So broadcast radio, broadcast terrestrial radio remains as such as a very local service that provides news and information and entertainment and music and advertising to its local audience. But other than that, on the internet, we have a multitude of platforms and ways to create and share content. So the concern with digital forms of music and entertainment are, first of all, the lack of pay because people can download and share music without paying illegally. Streaming services have low payouts, especially for non-established artists. If you're not well known, nobody really wants to pay you a lot of money. And there is always a fear that the audience will not support an artist if the artist goes free. And sometimes we say that music sharing platforms are not just hurting the big names because now their content can be pirated to the audience, but also smaller artists, they gain recognition if their content, if their music is available to a broad audience. But on the other hand, if it becomes completely free, no one would pay. And so it is a constant dilemma. So digital media create a new business model for artists. Audiences can pay what they want. For example, Rainbows is a form of that, an example of that form of payment. Radiohead created its in Rainbows, where you can pay whatever you want. You can also subscribe to elite streaming services that would be a little more expensive. Receiving digital albums when you buy concert tickets. Vinyl releases with digital. Now we say vinyl, but when I was a kid, we just called them records, of course. New interactive concert experiences, and now in the era of COVID, a lot of concerts are moving into the digital realm, and now it's easy to make them free because you don't have to pay for a space and other physical aspects of the concert. But on the other hand, the artist is working for no or little pay. And now independent music is promoted through social media. That's another form of revenue, another form of gaining popularity. So with music formats, just like some people love books, physical books versus electronic books, there are music fans who prefer one form versus the other. Vinyl, cassettes, 8-tracks, those are more for archive collectors. Old technology continues existing alongside with new, but for the most part, the younger generation is born into a new form, and a lot of you don't even know what vinyl sounds like or 8-track, for example, what that is. Do you actually know what a mini disc is? Because some people think that a mini disc is a small disc. So recording industry through time, it first began with a cylinder, then the vinyl disc, then an 8-track recorder, which is a very simple cassette, then the regular cassette tapes, then CDs. Now we have digital MP3 recorders, Napster, we said the music swapping. Pandora is a streaming service that I use a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you do when you're in your car. And finally, on iCloud, we have the latest technology to share music through the cloud. Okay, so the music industry still continues talking to its audience through media, and we see that the vinyl industry is actually becoming more and more popular because of the elite users, people who know the taste of analog versus digital. So to summarize our conversation, in order to be a good critic of audio media, to move beyond your personal reaction to pop music, you would need to look closer at the industry, understand how the music industry works, what roles music plays in popular culture, because it's not just one role but multiple roles, and look for places that use digital technology to offer a different experience. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you next time.